feel exhausted from yesterday. I barely got any sleep last night, and my neck and mouth hurt like hell. On top of all this, my anxiety has been slowly climbing with the overwhelming feeling of having to go to school like this. I feel so tired, and my head hurts whenever I move too suddenly. I rubbed my forehead with a sigh. Why do I have to go to school tomorrow? I haven't been to a public school in my entire life. I was always self-taught and had a little bit of guidance from my guardian. I've never really liked talking to people. In fact, Kyoko's the only person my age that I talk to. Maybe that's the problem. I don't really care about making friends and socializing with others. I have been able to accomplish many tasks that come my way on my own or with minimal help. This whole vampire situation is making my skin crawl. Depending on other people makes me feel so uneasy. I like doing things on my own because then I know I won't mess up. And I'll stick to it. With other people, though, they're their own person and can leave and mess up. Nothing ever gets done. So I'd rather work alone. Kyoko is the only exception. She's very reliable and is always on time and always gets her work done. I respect her for that. But other than her, people are untrustworthy and unreliable. Beep, beep. My alarm went off, reminding me I have to go and learn how to live in this new life form from Kathy. I got up with a groan, immediately regretting getting up and having to move. I sighed and held my head and slowly got dressed, making sure not to touch my neck or move too quickly to avoid getting a headache. When I finished, I looked over at my clock. 30 minutes have passed. I was slightly irritated that in this condition I was taking so much longer than I would usually take. I walked over to the door of my room, heading down the hallway to Kathy for lessons today. Why is this happening? Why now? Why me? I shook my head, trying to get rid of the painful questions and thoughts. Moving my hand to the doorknob, I slowly turned it and walked into the right room. Oh, hello, Saichi. How did you sleep last night? Kathy asked with a smile, walking over to greet me by the door. Not very well. I sighed disappointingly. That sleep was just adding to the annoyance building up in my gut. Well, that is expected. I do hope it gets better soon, Saichi, she said, walking over to her desk and grabbing a notebook and taking her place next to the couch. I reluctantly walked over and took my place on the couch beside her. Well, I guess we should start today. You do have school tomorrow, she said, looking down at the notebook, flipping through a couple of pages before she turned her focus to me. So, Saichi, have you noticed anything different? She asked, putting a pencil in her hand. What do you mean by different? I have fangs in my mouth and it's harder to do some things because of them. I absolutely despise the sun. Not that I got much exposure to it before, just now I really don't like how easily I burn from it, I said, not wanting to remember to or talk about what happened yesterday. Yeah, it's not great to start with, she sighed, writing something down in her notebook. But I mean, have you had any cravings for blood? She asked, emphasizing the word blood and making me shudder. Not really. Should I be? I asked, running my tongue over my fangs nervously. Could I really accidentally bite someone and kill them, or even worse, make them like this? It's okay to be scared, you know. This isn't going to be easy. Yeah, I know, I said with a little more venom than I meant to add. Sorry, I'm not mad at you. This whole thing is putting me on edge, I said, moving my hand to the scars on my neck from the bite mark. It was still a little tender, and it still hurt if you touched it with too much force, but nothing compared to the pain when I first got it. No, I understand. You're actually doing very well. I was punching and clawing my walls and hurting myself to try and stop this, so you are doing exceptionally well. I'm proud of you, Saichi, she said with a smile. I tried to return it with the same joy, but couldn't, and it quickly fell to a frown. Hey, don't worry about it. It will get better, okay? She said, putting a comforting hand on my shoulder. How can this get better? Is that even possible? Kokichi. Leader, they called the police. Sorry I got us spotted by them because I tripped, Naki said, chastising herself. She was always way too hard on herself, and if I yelled at her, it would just be overkill. It's alright, but we have to get back to the base. They can't see our faces, or they will know who we are, okay? I yelled, signaling the rest of the group that it was time to go. We quickly escaped and left our symbol behind before we went back to the base. That was not the best we could have done, but there's always room for improvement, I announced to the group members who were slouching in defeat. They all pricked up at my words, making a smile come to my face. I'm really happy that I have you guys. I wouldn't give this up for the world. Alright, so what can we change in our plan for it to be successful next time? Kari said, looking away from the computer for a brief moment before focusing back on the computer. Well, I would suggest that maybe we split up the jobs differently, because I feel like Anaki would have been better as a lookout, and I could have taken her place as a runner. Marky said, standing up to sit by Anaki, who was alone in the corner. Yeah, that's a great idea, Siban said, beaming. Alright guys, let's see what we can do for a job next time. Let me know when you find something. Sorry I can't be here all the time. School's kind of a full-time job, I said with an exasperated sigh, before standing up and walking towards the door to the living room. I have to get the reading done so I do not have to read 17 chapters tomorrow. It's alright, leader. We understand. Don't worry about it, Anaki said with a wave before I left the room and closed the door. I worked on my homework until the sky was dark. I was exhausted from all the writing and reading and dying. I put my head on the desk and closed my eyes. I wish that I could get a break from school, was the last thing I thought before I went to sleep. Shit. I messed up. Okay. Shoot. I don't know what tone I did his voice in, because I remember I was doing tones. I want to say Kokichi was my own tone, but then Saichi was like slightly deeper, I guess. I feel embarrassed when I have to voice act two different people because I'm the only one talking, but that's okay. Akari, Jesus Christ. The names are so similar. It makes my head hurt. I mix them up all the time. Even when I was like writing, I was like Anaki and Akari. But Akari's the more monotone one, and then Anaki's like the I have so much energy, please calm me down. Me can't remember anything, tries to put myself back together. I'm fine.